Hey guys, it's Wildcat6305 coming to you from Ike's Treehouse outside of Augusta, Georgia. Today I just want to show you the customizations that I did to my units, and I've just pulled out the ones that I've customized and changed up, and I have all of them lined up here. Well, I'll just go over briefly what I did. Some shout outs on this one, definitely heavily inspired by General Hand Grenade, Siredblood, and Dracoonsler from DK's Den. These are some the schemes that they came up with. Siredblood, I used his flag, his carrier flags print file. I printed it off, and it worked very well. I'm really happy with the way these turned out. Just kind of briefly getting into it here, I'll show you the Americans, and essentially I did the same thing for each nation. So I painted all my surface warships. I painted the tips of them with a color, so then you can see them from afar. Hey, that's a surface warship because it's got a colored tip. As you get closer, I painted both the battleship and the cruiser with silver, and I painted the destroyer with white. That way, kind of like Sireblood's pieces are, he has the decks of his cruisers and his battleships painted brown or tan to look like a wooden deck, and he uses that to help his players keep up with who can do an offshore bombardment or not. So I painted these two the same color. The battleship, I don't think too many people get the battleships confused with the cruisers because the size is so much better. But also, like Sireblood, I added flags to my capital ships here, and I feel like that really helps them stand out. So hey, it's got a flag, it can take 2 hits. The other thing I did is on my aircraft carriers, I added these magnet pads on here, as well as drilling holes for flagpoles in here. The magnet pads, the planes, I mounted them on stands, and they're metal, so they just attach right to the aircraft carrier. I also painted the tactical bombers, the noses on them white to distinguish between the fighter and the strategic bomber. I painted the one in the middle, essentially, in size, the fighter being the smallest and the strategic being the largest. Some nations, like I know some of my players have had issues trying to tell the difference between a tactical bomber and a strategic bomber on like UK and Anzac. Their fighters can be a little bit similar, especially Anzac, because most of the fighters have the most of the strategic bombers have the 4 engines on there, except for Anzac and the Japanese and the Germans, and so that can be kind of confusing, especially on Anzac when both the tactical and strategic bombers have 2 engines on them only, and then it comes down to the fins on the back wing there. So painting that really helps. So hey, what plane is this? Does it have a white nose? Yeah, then that's a tactical bomber. Really makes it easy for you to be able to yell across the room and you're talking about the same thing. The strategic bomber, well, I'll pick up the strategic bomber and show you get it on the camera here, show you my stand I made. So all I did, and you can think this looks as bad as it probably does, but I just took a number 10 nut. I went to the hardware store and bought several boxes of nuts and some finishing nails, and epoxied the nail into the nut here, so it was just standing straight up, and tried to use a 5-minute epoxy and try to babysit it so that I could get it standing as straight up and down as possible. Then after that, I'm fortunate enough to have a drill press. I know everybody doesn't have a drill press, but I went and used my drill press and punched holes in all my planes, and then came back and trimmed off the pointy part of the nail, because you need a little bit more surface area than just the cone shape, the tip of the nail. Cut some of that off and dabbed some super glue in the bottom in the hole on the plane and mounted it on the stand, and did that with all of my planes for every nation. So every plane I have is mounted on a stand. I really like it. I think mounting your planes on stands is an essential customization, just real estate. By the time you get a strategic bomber on a territory, it's hard to have much anything else on there, or at least I found it to be so. And same thing with the planes. I know Siredblood paints the bottom of his plane so they're magnetized to the pads, and DK put magnets in the bottom of his carriers and the bottom of his planes, but those planes are still flat on the ground. To me, I like the stands. It looks like the plane is flying. It's in flight. I didn't go with the Field Marshal gaming stands. Actually, at the time when I was looking at getting into it, they were sold out and out of stock, and there really wasn't a close date in sight. So, but overall, probably I'd say 30 bucks. I made over 300 stands for all my planes, and I have Pacific 40, Europe 40, and Spring 1942. So I mounted every single plane of those in all those kits. So I mean, for being under $30 to get all of them done, over 300 planes, it was a feat. But I'm pretty proud for getting it cost effective. And like I said too, it makes it easier if you're mobilizing. If you have a carrier, you're buying a carrier and you're putting it in the mobilization zone, you can just pick up the little flag there and pick it up and put it down, and your planes aren't going everywhere. Really, in my opinion, a very useful tool there. Well, that's it for my unit customizations. Hope you enjoyed, and subscribe if you liked it.